guys, I just wanted to do a video for you on snacks today. So I've been kind of wondering myself how to do some of these snacks with the Epicure products, and so I kind of played around with them and I just want to show you what I have learned. So I'll warn you, these ones are pretty new for me, but I'm going to wing this and see how I do. So what I did this morning to get ready is I made some chips, and I actually would probably call them close to a Pringles type of flavor. And so I used my mandolin slicer, and I made some slices of potatoes, and I put them in my steamer. So today we're going to talk about how to use the steamer and make snacks. So the other thing we're going to make today is popcorn in our steamer. So we're going to do potatoes and we're going to do popcorn. So let's talk a little bit about the popcorn here. I've got some butter. I'm going to put that in the microwave. Okay, so I've got some plain popcorn. Now what I did to make this amount here is I did 1/3 of a cup of dry kernels, and I just put them at the bottom of the steamer. I put the lid on, and in 5 minutes in my microwave, I had this popcorn. So I just kind of waited until it stopped popping a little bit, but it actually was still popping a decent amount. I was just afraid I was gonna burn it, and there's like pretty much no kernels left. So I was pretty amazed at the quality of this. And it's not chewy at all. It's super crispy. So that's the other big surprise, because sometimes when I use the air popper, I don't use it anymore, I find it's a little bit soggy, a little bit chewy. And so I actually prefer the microwave popcorn in the bag, but it's so crappy for you that I just refuse to buy it. So yeah, so far I'm really impressed with how to do popcorn in here. If you want a full one, it's 1/2 cup of popcorn. So now let's talk a little bit about the toppings. Okay, and I also want to talk about fats today as well. So I'm actually going to use butter on my popcorn, but you can use oil as well. Just going to melt that butter a little bit more. Now, butter obviously is going to have higher saturated fats, but it does have something called CLA in it, and CLA is conjugated linoleic acid. And that's from the ruminants of the gut, from the cow. And so that is actually a trans fat. So one of the reasons why people tell you not to use margarine and shortening is because of the trans fats. Man-made trans fats we know are horrible for us, and the Canadian food supply has recently, thank goodness, removed them from our food supply as much as possible. However, you will still see trans fats in butter, in addition to the saturated fats. The CLA, however, is quite healthy for you, and it is thought to have beneficial properties such as obesity, cancer prevention, cardiovascular disease, and also your immune function. So I think there's still benefit to periodically use butter. Now, if you're using huge amounts, I would definitely probably switch you over to a non-hydrogenated margarine, and that's, you know, another option for you. Or you can just use an olive oil, would also be very nice. But today I'm going to use a little bit of butter, which is really a treat for us. Now, my whole family is here today. The boys went out shooting this morning with their bow and arrow, so they're gonna come home. So I have Isaac and Richard here today too. So I thought it might be fun to have some snacks in the afternoon because it's really cold. So I'm gonna try 3 different toppings. So I've got 3 bowls here. And I'm gonna kind of pretend that we're kernels, a homemade kernels factory. Now, there are a lot of different toppings available through Epicure, and Epicure actually makes 3 different popcorn spices. Now, I only have one here today that I'm going to show you because I wanted to try some other things. So here's the creamy dill, and this is also going to be good on our potatoes here coming up. So this is a way to use both of them. So I'm going to put a little bit of butter here, and actually I should probably put a lid on it just to give it a shake, just to use a little bit less butter. I find shaking is quite brilliant. And actually, if you're all doing the same flavor, you could do this right in the Epicure steamer and not have extra dishes. But I need the Epicure steamer for something else to show you here shortly. So I'm going to use the dill seasoning. Okay, so this is the creamy dill. You can also make dressings out of this as well. You don't have to just use it for popcorn. So I've got my creamy dill popcorn. And taste test. It's awesome. Okay, now I want to do something a little bit different here as well today. So I'm going to put a little bit more butter on this one. I guess I can't share the lids actually. I mean more lids because I don't want to have dill on everything. So the other one I'm going to do today is the sweet maple. And this one, I don't know if you guys all have this one. This one was part of the Christmas line, but I'm going to do sweet and salty. So I'm going to do some of the maple. I've had this one on my counter, so it might be a little bit cloddy here, but. And I'm also going to add some salt to this one. So sweet and salty. Going to give that a shake. I might actually need to add more maple, but we'll see. But I'll have a few different varieties for snack time today. Need a little bit more of the maple. There we go. I keep it on the counter to put it with my oatmeal, so sometimes it gets a little bit cloddy because we don't add anything with the Epicure to prevent it from sticking together. So you may find that if you keep it in a moist area like on your counter, it gets a bit stuck together and you just need to use the back of a knife or your finger like I just did. So that's kind of like the kettle corn. So that was kind of the idea I had there. You could probably also just add brown sugar if you don't have the maple. And the third one I wanted to try, well actually I have two more I want to try. The chili lime and the summer berry. I only have one more thing of popcorn. I think I'm going to try, because I'm almost out of the summer berry. I just ordered more and it hasn't come. Maybe I'll try the chili lime. But I thought this would actually also be fun for the kids, the summer berry on the popcorn. But I'm going to do the chili lime. So I'll add a little bit more butter again. And I will add the chili lime. The chili lime is amazing on, well, pretty much everything, let's face it. But it's really good on fish, it's really good on salads, and apparently popcorn too. And it's really good on chips, which is what we're gonna do here shortly. So we got chili lime popcorn. Oh yeah, that one's really good. That one's just kind of unique, so that one's kind of fun. I didn't try to copy anybody on that one, so that's kind of my own creativity. So yeah, that one's actually really good. Awesome, awesome schmawesome. Okay, so we made 3 different kinds of popcorn using our steamer. I'm just gonna chuck, yeah, so I just kind of got to the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see this. That's how many more, I had maybe about a tablespoon of kernels left over. So it did really well. I probably could have popped it for a few more minutes, or not a few more minutes, sorry, about 30 seconds more, so maybe like 5.5 minutes, but I just kind of chickened out there for a bit. So the next thing I'm going to do with the Epicure steamer, and if you have a double tray, you can actually buy an extra tray. If you really like the chips, I would probably do that because it is a little bit time intensive in the microwave. But what you're going to do is I use my mandolin, and I use the thicker one, which may have been part of the issue. It took about 5 minutes, and it should take about 3.5 minutes. So what I'm going to do with this second batch is I'm going to take my potato, and I've got my Epicure mandolin. If you haven't seen the mandolin, this one's really easy. It just pops out here, and then it has a little thing and it just pops in. So it's got 2 juliennes, thick and a thin, and it's got 2 slices of thick and a thin. So what you want to do with the potato is you want to take the end and you want to cut off the end on each piece. I'll put those in my composter. And this is kind of your hand guard here. So it's got that. You're going to stick your potato in it, and it's got great big prongs. And I won't lie, this does take a bit of finesse, and it does take a bit of practice, so don't get frustrated. I'm pretty new at this one, but I'm getting pretty good at it. And then when you get to the end, you just have to kind of move it up a little bit. It's a little bit tricky there. But this is a great way to save some time, but also just make your product look a little bit more professional. Okay, so this is the difference here between the thin and the thick on the mandolin. So I guarantee you 3.5 minutes is probably gonna be fine with my second batch. So I'm gonna take my potatoes, I'm gonna lay them out in my steamer. You don't really want them overlapping, or very minimally. Now the first batch I used the chili, lime, and salt, and I salted them before I put them in the microwave, and that worked well. 5 minutes. Super crispy. Can you hear? Can you hear the crisp? They're absolutely delicious. So when you're making your own potatoes, obviously you're not getting any garbage, so you can actually have them and not feel too bad at all, because potatoes are actually healthy. So I'm gonna put those in the microwave. Now, if you have a double tray, that's brilliant. No cover on this. Oh, I gotta season them. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit of salt. And I'm gonna use the dill this time. Okay, and I'm gonna put those in. For the recommended 3 minutes and 30 seconds on those ones. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna store these in some water so they don't go brown. And I will cook these off later for the family so we can have a bit of a snack afternoon. So Isaac is gonna be in heaven today. But yeah, they turned out really, really well. They browned a little bit and they are super crispy. The chili lime is not very spicy at all. I can probably take a little bit of spice, maybe moderate. I actually don't find these spicy whatsoever. It has just, I would say it's more lime than chili. But it's just another great way to use this product. So the popcorn, you have the cover on. The chips, you do not have the cover on. Now let's just talk a little bit about olive oil oils while the potato chips are in the microwave. So with your popcorn, if you wanted, you could add canola oil instead of the butter. The benefit of olive oil is it does have a lot of antioxidants. It does not have really a great high temperature base though, so it's gonna burn quite easily. Once it burns, it's gonna have free radicals and it's not gonna be a healthy product anymore. So you really wanna use olive oil for the most part when you're not heating up too high. If you're gonna fry your foods in it, you always wanna use a canola oil or something that has a higher temperature. And the reason why I really push canola oil is it has a really high temperature base that you can heat it to. It's also local for the most part. Most of the canola in the world is coming out of Canada. So I really want to encourage our Canadian farmers, of course. But from a nutritional perspective, from the mono and polyunsaturated fats, it's very, very similar to olive oil. So people say olive oil is incredible with the fat profile, so is canola oil. And people don't really give it that same recognition. So we are gonna get higher polyunsaturates in the canola oil and higher monounsaturates in the olive oil. When you do olive oil, there's extra virgin and there's just a regular. So the benefit of the extra virgin is it's usually the first press, so it has the most flavor, and it's done with no temperature. So when you get the second presses and the third press is kind of the cheaper versions of olive oil, it's not gonna have the same flavor profile, so it's not as good for salads. It's better for, you know, cooking and some of the high temperature type things that you're gonna use it for, but just careful not to ever let it smoke. It's gonna smoke much easier than canola oil. But you do get the heat. It's more of a refined process. So typically what I would recommend is extra virgin olive oil for your salads and things like that. But if you're gonna go into using it for temperature or for cooking with, I would automatically move it to the canola oil just to prevent the free radical formation, but also because it's a refined process as well. So you're gonna get a much cheaper product, a higher quality product at that point in time, in my opinion. So that's kind of the difference between olive oil and canola oil, and those are the two oils that I really promote. And then of course butter would be kind of a treat. If you're gonna go with margarines, you wanna make sure that you have a soft margarine that says non-hydrogenated. It doesn't matter what brand you buy whatsoever. I just buy the no-name brand. But for a treat, getting the CLA in your butter is also one benefit to periodically add some small amounts of butter. So I did about a half a cup for all my popcorn, and I still have, I only probably used a few tablespoons with all my popcorn, so we really didn't use very much. So let's see how our potatoes are doing. So these are our little Epicure tongs. They're all silicone, they're quite nice. So that's perfect. These are nice and crispy at 3.5 minutes. So if you do the thin, you're at 3.5 minutes. If you do a thick slice, you're gonna be closer to about 5 minutes. Both are really good. They're kind of different. One's chunkier. These are a lot thinner. So I guess it depends how you like your potatoes. Do you like a thick cut French fry, or do you like a thin cut French fry? But yeah, remarkably good, and really no extra garbage in your diet. And I think you can probably feel good about this. I mean, you don't get tons of chips, so it is a little bit labor intensive, like I said, but you know, you can kind of do them on the side and, you know, make them over time. And I guarantee my kids are gonna be like, I want more, but yeah, 3.5 minutes. Look at that, you got some kind of homemade Pringles. I think they taste like Pringles actually, without the garbage. So I made 2 different kinds, chili lime and dill, and you could probably use any of the popcorn seasonings that we have and just kind of get, you know, get creative and add different things. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. If you have any questions about the new catalog came out. I haven't really focused on it yet too much with my group. Maybe I'll log on and share some new things this week, but there's lots of new things in here. I did post it to my Facebook group, so take a look at that. And I also have to put a plug in for January. If you do a class in January, a cooking class, either online, which means there's no work from you, I do all the work, or you can do it at your home and I'll come in and do a cooking class with you. There is double host benefits for January. So it's a great month if you've been thinking about doing that to sign up for January. So I hope you enjoyed my snacks edition of Epicure, and I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.